Vaishnavi Sundar is a feminist, writer, activist and acclaimed filmmaker. Her upcoming project is a documentary called Behind the Looking Glass, which is about the lives of women whose partners have or want to transition. It's the first film ever made about this topic. Let's take a look.
Get out. Get yourself out of this.
Do not allow yourself to be persuaded or influenced by...
There's nothing you can be or do that will make you the object of his affection.
Like my dad died when I was 11, but I didn't realize.
トランス女性と称していた夫と離婚して3年ほどになります。私たちのような存在に対して何があっても好き好んで一緒にいたんだから合意の上でしょと考える人もいて、そんなことでは相手を無罪にさせられかねないから嫌なんです。
One narrative gets all the airtime and the other one just has to be silenced. And that's the woman who's saying, well, he hit me, he raped me. You know, he spent all our money, he was terrible to the children. No, that's now a woman, best sort of woman, the trans woman, and she just has to shut up.
Women are finding us by Googling trans widows.
Thank you for joining me. A lot of people will see that and not understand the idea. Trans widows, what does that mean?
Trans widows basically is a term that was coined after a group of women decided that it was suitable to call themselves that because their husbands or their partners have decided to leave them to become a woman.
Yes, I understand.
They've evidently left their family behind, their children behind, and these women feel widowed.
Yes.
By their husbands.
And you've been speaking to a lot of these women for the new documentary, but not in India, elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I've been speaking to women, to anybody who would speak to me, to be honest.
Yes.
And the challenge about speaking on this subject in India is the language, because we speak hundreds of languages, and it is very difficult to unite women together for them to understand what trans widow means in the first place.
Yes.
And there are so many different socio-cultural communities that these women might not be coming forward to speak about this, and they probably don't think that they can speak about this. Divorces are being granted on the grounds of the husbands getting cross-sex surgeries.
Yes.
But that's not because they care for the women, but that's just because the court believes that he is no longer a man, therefore the marriage is not valid.
So that's very interesting, because I think a lot of people make the assumption that gender identity ideology has only really spread in the Anglo-sphere and that it's not really happening in many other countries. But you say from India, from an Indian perspective, actually it really has taken hold there.
Things have taken hold and things are moving in a very fast direction for the worse, because now trans-identified males are directed towards female prisons, female-only prison estate. Men with their preferred gender identity are allowed to participate in any sports of their choice, and there are puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones as part of training manuals for teachers who teach primary school children in school.
And this is happening in India, because all of those things you've described are happening here, and we've discussed them a lot on the programme.
Yeah.
It's a surprise to me to hear that it's so widespread in India.
It is a surprise to a lot of people as well. Consider us being about 5 years behind you.
Right.
And with more people going through this process, maybe resisting it at some point would probably create some awareness amongst people.
Yes.
But within this demographic, right, you can imagine that these men, when they trans-identify, the wives and the children that these men leave behind have absolutely no voice. They have no voice here. They definitely don't have voice back home. And it is difficult for people to take this into consideration because you wouldn't hear about it. You wouldn't hear about general domestic violence cases in the first place. Nobody cares about what happens to the wife, even in the generic domestic violence, not the neo-domestic violence. We have about 470,000 pending cases in the Supreme Court. We heard that is under Domestic Violence Act 2005. But now trans-identified males can claim recourse under this act, which is meant exclusively for females. And the Chief Justice of India considers male and female not to be absolute concepts.
Absolutely fascinating. So you've made this film, or are making this film. You're in the process of raising money to complete the film. But you yourself, an acclaimed filmmaker in India, you've done all this work, but you yourself have sort of been cancelled, haven't you, for taking an interest in this topic?
Yeah, it happened because I apparently wrote some tweets on my personal Twitter back when nobody was even, aware that I exist in the internet web sphere. But I basically made tweets about wanting safe spaces for women and how men shouldn't participate in women's sports. Absolutely basic stuff, boilerplate.
Fairly standard views.
Just standing up for women, classic feminism. But that was apparently absolutely horrible of me to say that. So there was a screening that was supposed to happen in New York by this organization called Polis Project. And they cancelled it, I think, 2 or 3 days before it because of my transphobic views.
Right.
And they did not allow me an opportunity to speak about it. They did not get back to media persons who asked for comments. They just shut me out completely. And that drove me to finding out about how deep it is in India, actually. And I doubled down on my activism, to be honest, since then. It was as if they shut me down and I just came out screaming out of it.
Well, I mean, I hear a lot of stories from women who've been in that position where they've been accused of transphobia or hatred or bigotry or even fascism for even expressing a view or an interest in this area. But their response isn't to shut up. And I suppose that's the intended outcome, that it shuts people up, intimidates them, right?
Absolutely.
But not the case in your case.
Well, they tried, but because I am by principle, I don't like bullies and misogynists. I just don't like listening to them. And if they try to shut me down, I will only scream further.
Yes.
And I used to write for a lot of Indian media companies, but they've just stopped commissioning any gigs to me right now. My films used to be platformed in so many different places, but they don't even respond to my emails anymore. Well, that does not hinder my, promotion of the films and everything. What I have gained by losing these erstwhile friends is that I've gained a global sisterhood from around the world who have helped me to promote all my work. They champion all my work, and I'm truly grateful for that. It's as if this cancellation was the best thing that happened to me.
Really?
Yes.
That's very interesting. So do you think that the way through all of this, and a lot of people are in your position and are worried about speaking out, is it going to be global? Is it going to be a sort of network of people resisting?
Oh, trust me, people are afraid to speak out about this, even in India. That's why there are very few people challenging this ideology. They are against it in principle, but they can't put their name and their face out, saying that they are standing against it. And these people could be, working in organizations that promote gender ideology in a way that insurance companies provide full coverage for all sorts of gender ideology surgeries like double mastectomy, hysterectomies and everything. And they provide you paid holidays to recuperate from these surgeries and things like that. In American and British companies who have offices back home also have this culture of having gender-neutral toilets and things like that. So you have the first at a case here. You can say you are being discriminated for having GC views. We don't have that back there. No. So I can't oppose to wanting to use, not wanting to use a mixed-sex toilet because that's
because here we've got the legislation behind it, but it's not there in India.
Not yet, no.
So what next for the film? You want to complete the film. What else do you have to do?
Oh, I want to finish this film and I want to screen it everywhere, and I want to scream at the top of my voice because they have to take into account the wives and children of these men, because you hear the stunning and brave stories of these men non-stop, every day, all day, in every channel, in India as well.
Yes.
The media has been hijacked, the academia has been hijacked, law and police have been hijacked. So if you want the voices of the wives and children to be taken seriously, I hope that this film would come in handy and you can say that there was a film that was made on this subject.
Well, if people want to donate to your film, the website is on the screen right now. Vaishnavu, thanks very much for joining me.
Thank you so much, Andrew.